In this video, I'm going to show you how to create big ambient sounds that really mimics the warm, rich sound of a huge pad. I'm going to show you how to use hybrid picking when playing these open triads, along with the settings I use on my delay and reverb to create that spacious, lush ambient sound. So grab your guitar and let's dig in. All right, so as you can hear, we had some nice ambient tones happening there alongside open triads, and I also introduced a few additional notes within the triads. Let me go ahead and show you what I did. The chords, first of all, was G. Then I played G over B over there. E minor 7. And then we had C over E with that major 7 added. And then a D and a D over F sharp. And those were the chords. So G, I've got 10 on the A, and then 12 on the D, 12 on the B. Then on beat 4, I'm going to 14 on the A, 17 on the D, and 15 on the B. And throughout, I'm using hybrid picking because I'm not picking the G string for any of these shapes. So I've got my pick on the A string, my middle finger on the D string, and my ring finger on the B string. And that allows me to play both G and then G over B. Then we go to E minor 7. And that will be 7 on the A, 9 on the D. I don't play the G, and then 8 on the B. With 10 on the E. All right, so that's for the E minor 7. Then I stay in that area to play what's known as E, C over E. But I'm adding in the major 7, so technically it's C major 7 over E. The notes would be 7 on the A, 10 on the D, and then 8 on the B for my chord, and then I'm playing a bar across the 7th fret to then give me that B, which is the major 7 over the C, right? So that means from the start, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now the good news is for this final chord, which is D, the shape is the same as we've had for G in the beginning, which basically is just 5 on the A, 7 on the D, 7 on the B. And then I'm playing D over F sharp, which is 9 on the A, 12 on the D, and 10 on the B string. So that'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, nice and simple. So simply we've just got G, E minor, C, and D, but I'm using these open triads. I'm going to show you where they come from shortly, but let me just play it for you once more, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and repeat it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So the main thing that you need to be aware of is not to hit the G string with these voicings, so we just mute it throughout. So now you know the chords. Let me quickly just show you where these shapes come from so you can actually know what's happening. This right here, the 12th fret on the D, G, and B strings makes up what we call a G major triad. It's the same as you would play A over here on a 2nd fret. But then what I'm doing is I'm taking the middle note of that triad. I don't play it. Instead, I move it down an octave. So this middle note is a G. So is this. But that G is down an octave. So that means a second inversion G like this will give me what's known as a root position open triad. And all these notes, when I play it like this, they cover a distance greater than an octave, which is why it's an open triad. And if it's a closed triad, all three of these notes, they cover less than an octave, which is why this would then be a closed triad. So that's G, root position open triad. And if we go to the next triad over here, which will be a root position closed position triad, and the notes there would be 17, 16, 15 on the D, G, and B strings. But we know that the middle note, which is a B in this case, I'm going to play it down an octave. So that means a root position closed triad in G becomes a first inversion open triad, which is G over B, and you can also play it down there. I play that same over here for C over E and also D over F sharp. So now you know how to play a root position open triad as well as a first inversion open triad. Now what we didn't use in this instance was the second inversion triad, where we basically take the first inversion closed position and then we go ahead and make it a different shape. But let me just show you what that would look like. This is a first inversion closed position triad. So I can take the D, move it down an octave, and then I get this sound, which is a second inversion open triad in D. So that means root position, first inversion, second inversion, back to root position. An interesting fact, if you look at the way I play this G over here, I can play the exact same fingering a string down on the 5th fret, and it'll also give me the exact same chord. It's G, D, B are my notes. Same. Alright, and that is the concept of open triads. Now, if you want to do the minor versions of that, you just have to flatten the third every time. So in this case, if we have a E minor triad like this, I'm going to move the E down an octave because it's my middle note. That's going to give me E minor. And E major will look like this, like we've just checked out a moment ago, but a minor, we're going to flatten the third. Right, so that is from this E minor over here, where B is my lowest note. Now, of course, you can also play that same triad. The next version up is going to be this, where it's basically playing E minor like this, and then dropping the third, the minor third, which is the middle note, an octave. But now this becomes a bit of a tricky shape to play, so I just like to play it like that. So if you go to the minor third, you're going to put your second finger on the 10th fret of the A, the first finger on the 9th fret of the G, and then your pinky on the 12th fret of the B. And that gives you E minor over E. Or if I wanted to play an A minor over C, it'll look like this. Alright, so there we go. Root position, E minor, open triad. First inversion, E minor, open triad. And then finally, a second inversion. And again, this just comes from this E minor triad. But I'm going to take the middle note down an octave, and then I get this. So now I've got remember this shape? The exact same shape I had here for E minor. I can also play it there. So you get root position, first inversion, second inversion, and then root position again. All right, and that just gives you this really nice orchestral sounding voicing. So now I've shown you root position, first inversion, second inversion, open triads for both major and minor. And the only thing that I changed in the way that I played the part is I played a normal E minor triad, open triad, and then I added in the 10th fret on the E string, which makes this an E minor 7. And then for a C over E, I played the same C over E triad, but I added in the B to give me C major 7 over E. And then back to standard triad, standard triad. So I've got G, G over B, E minor 7, C major 7 over E, D, D over F sharp. What's great about that is there's a lot more intention in terms of how you arrange the notes, and that's why it's got kind of that orchestral sound. Because when you listen to an orchestra, if you listen, whether it's a trio or whatever the case may be, just a string trio or a full orchestra, whatever the case is, they don't just play whatever they want. There's like pre-written parts so that they can kind of spread out the triads or the chords amongst the different players. And that's why specifically with string players like that, it's more intentional in terms of how you play the notes. And on the guitar, sometimes we can just, kind of just play chord shapes without really considering the voicings and how the notes have been arranged. But when you play these open triads like I've just shown you, it's a little bit more intentional, and that's why you get a little bit more of an orchestral sound. So there you go. That is it. Now let's quickly break down the tone just to show you what basically happens to take this from an open, just a normal sound like this, to something that's a lot more. Now, as you finish watching this video, don't forget that you can grab the tabs and the tracks and get access to our special interactive videos featuring animated tabs and fretboards. All the videos in this bundle are powered with the SoundSize technology in our Worship Guitar Skills Academy, and these living sheet music resources will really take your practice routine to the next level and make it way more effective. You'll be able to practice along with my recording using the special hybrid video and music notation player. So all you need to do is press play and then watch as the notes light up and sync up with the video. This will give you a deeper understanding of all the different concepts and techniques covered in this video. It will really help you to craft killer worship guitar parts with ease. So if you're interested in checking out the tab and track bundle for this specific lesson and also supporting our channel, check out the link in the description for more information.